morning, San Jose CSL. My name is Deborah Tisdale. I'm offering the music today. I'm so glad to be here, seeing so many familiar faces. And I invite you to sing our opening song, May the Light of the Spirit, and let your own light shine.
Good morning, lovely community. Yeah, and hello to our live streaming family. We are so glad you are joining us this morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living San Jose, where we don't just say this, we really mean we are transforming lives, building dreams, and revealing love, where all that we ask is that you remain open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind. Welcome home. My name is Nicole Fraser, and I am fortunate enough and happy to be a practitioner awaiting licensing. Yeah! And as a community this morning, we would like to take a moment to welcome those of you who are here for the very first time. We're delighted that you are here. There are so many ways that you can connect with us. You can connect with us through our website at www.cslsj.org. You can call us, and you can also visit the concierge table after services today and speak with them. We have a free gift for you. We would love to talk to you. If you are busy today, and we get that, there is a gift for you in the foyer on the way out, and we look forward to connecting with you in the future. And for those of you live streaming, Max Overland is your moderator today, and he can find, yahoo, ways for you to connect with us also. And so now here's one of my favorite parts of every Sunday. Let's celebrate being here together with like-minded people. Say good morning to your neighbor. Yeah. I just... Oh, yes, good morning again. Oh, my goodness. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Morning. Oh, I have a real great mission. So we like to begin our services by sitting in silence with each other for 2 minutes. And to that end, we would love it if you could shut off all mobile devices. And if you feel called to today, we would also love it if you checked us in on Facebook. Thank you.
I invite you to join me in the chant. If love is why we're here. If love is why we're here, may we be an open channel. If love is why we're here, may we give and then receive. If love is why we're here, may we be an open channel. If love is why we're here, may we give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why we're here, may we be an open channel. If love is why we're here, may we give and then receive.
Good morning. Let's pray. There is only one source, one flow, one presence. And this presence is in and through everything. It is in me, it is in you, it is in this community. And in this moment, I cherish that. I cherish you. I cherish our community that is filled with light and love. And it is through this that we build unity. It may be the person on your left or your right. It may even be the person behind or in front of you. But it is you who make this community. And I celebrate that. I celebrate you being here. And I celebrate our unity in community. Everything around you, everything in you, everything about you. And I am so grateful for this moment, for this day, for this community, to where I can be free to be me, where you can be free to be you, supported and loved. What a beautiful, amazing Sunday morning it is. I am so grateful for this, so filled with joy, filled with God expressing through me. And so I release this prayer powerfully into the universe, knowing that we are a community of one, a powerful community. I release it. And together we say, and so it is. Let's read today's affirmation. There is peace, a divine, harmonious, dynamic, creative action at the center of my being. Every breath I draw, every beat of my heart is the perfect rhythmic action of life itself.
This is one of my favorite songs about community. It's about love of community. So I invite you to take this into your heart. I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive.
Good morning. My name is Julia Snow, and I am the Insight speaker for this morning. Thank you. I'd like to share from my CSL experience that started in the summer of 2010. Prior to that, I had not heard of CSL or of No Thought or of Ernest Holmes. I was looking for a new church, specifically for a non-denominational Christian church, when I happened to have met a woman. I met the woman. I mentioned that I was looking for a church, and she said she went to CSL. I was soon to learn about the term synchronicity from Barbara. The description that I heard about CSL was different. I thought that attending a service could be interesting, and so I showed up. I've heard from other people about their first experience, about they heard the words welcome home and they felt like they were right at home. That they heard the message and they felt like the message was written just for them and touched their hearts and they knew they belonged. For me, I sat through my first service totally stunned. And the thought that was going through my mind after my first day was, can you really say that from behind the pulpit? Okay. And then there are the reasons for coming back. I've heard people that come back for the relevant word, for the wonderful music, for the warm and welcoming community. I came back because I heard that by changing my thoughts, I could change my life. And there were things in my life that I wanted to change. So I came back for the classes. At the time, summer school was in session, and when that finished, the fall courses started, and I signed up for Foundations. During Foundations, I learned about affirmative prayer, affirmations. I learned about visualization and visioning. I learned about forgiveness. I thought I'd understood the importance about forgiving others. I learned about forgiving myself. I learned about the concept of radical forgiveness, that I could be attracting people and situations into my life to learn lessons that I needed to learn. And then there was the 10th week. And in the 10th week, David asked the class, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And I started realizing that I'd been making limiting choices in my life based out of fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. What is it that I would do? What is it I wanted to do? What is it I could do? I'd like to share with you a story about grace that I have experienced here at the center. It involves the Global Heart Choir. Now, I knew I was not a singer because in the 6th grade, I had been turned down from the 6th grade choir. In 6th grade, a student had walked into the classroom and said, "Who's interested in being in the choir?" And I had raised my hand. A couple of friends and I were escorted down to the music teacher, and unexpectedly she turned to me and asked me to sing a song. And I was so taken aback and made so uncomfortable, I could not remember the tune, and I just froze, and it was a disaster. So my friends got in the choir, and I didn't. And here I am at the center, sitting in the audience, and they're starting the Global Heart Choir. And I'm looking at these people having this wonderful time, singing this beautiful music, wishing that I was a singer. I happened to mention this to Suzanne one day, and she said, "Well, you could attend a practice choir session. You could be a guest. You wouldn't have to audition, and you could have the choir experience." I thought, great, I can do that. So one Monday evening, I showed up for a choir practice. They asked me if I knew which part I sang, and I knew I was an alto. So I went, I asked where the guests sat, and they said in the choir. So I went and sat in the alto section, and they handed out music, and they asked if I knew how to read music. And I said, well, yes, I played the flute in the band. I know how to read music. And so there was a wonderful evening of laughter and singing and such a warm and welcoming community. At the end of the evening, Michelle said, "Who is here for the first time? Would you please introduce yourself?" There were 3 of us. We each introduced ourselves, and then Michelle said, "Welcome to the Global Heart Choir." Yeah. And I thought, oh my, this is it. It wasn't until I was talking with Michelle a few months later that she made a comment that she didn't recall my singing a solo for her. And it was during that conversation we realized there had been a miscommunication, and that a general audition really did include singing a solo for Michelle. So I may be the only member of the Global Heart Choir that has never sung a solo for Michelle. And so I stand here this morning, having taken classes ranging from spiritual practices to visioning. I have taken classes in drama, in painting, and Pilates. I have recently returned from a trip to Bali. I am in the process of completing my practitioner studies, and I am training to ride my bicycle from San Francisco to Los Angeles in June. And so I stand here today to thank this warm and welcoming community that has given me so many opportunities and possibilities, and in providing me with an environment in which I cannot fail. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm so grateful that we're all here. Welcome to the 9:30 service. It feels like 9:30, right? Like this is the well, hi. This is the time of year where my belief in God really gets tested the most. I believe most in God that day in October when they give me an extra hour to sleep. And on this particular day, I have an opportunity to practice my spiritual practice through not being bitter. So my prayer is it doesn't take 6 months to move beyond this or past this. So, hi. I'm David Bruner. I am the Senior Minister and Spiritual Director here, and I'm a practicing spiritual scientist. I'd like to welcome those of you who are here for the first time. Thank you. Good to have you here with us. For those of you who were here last week, I have just a point of clarification, if I may. See, I'm pretty sure about what I said last week, but I'm not so sure about what you heard. They used to teach us in ministerial school in the class called homiletics that there's actually 3 sermons every Sunday. There's the one that I prepare, there's the one that I give, and there's the one that you hear. And they're never the same. So last week I was sharing with folks in this room that it's been my observation over the last 20 years of ministry that so many relationships are destroyed, so many relationships unravel or fall apart because each in the relationship expects the others to be everything for them. And I watched that no one person can be everything for their partner. So the conclusion I've drawn through watching this for so long is that we don't really need a relationship. I mean, people really don't need a relationship. What people need is community. That's really what people need, is community. And then we find that we're bolstered in partnership, and we have an opportunity to express life and receive life in such a way that we would not dare to have risk alone when we get into partnership. But we get into partnership because we have established community, and we actually function. We function well as an individual in community. Like we learn how to be nice to people. We learn to choose wisely and treat kindly. And that makes relationship the mature, conscious action of two people who really want to make an impact in the life of the other. Instead, what I see happen a lot in relationships is people are feeling empty or like something's missing, so they better get a relationship to fill their big, empty, gaping void. Sound pretty? And that's the reality of the first date. It never shows up on your profile, but that's really what shows up on the date. Like, I'm an energy vampire. I'm here to suck you dry. And I mean that in the holiest way. But I wanted to, let me clarify about last week. So I really believe that what people need is community. Oh, that's funny. That's God's doing. There's a counter there. I'm turning it over. I entertain myself so much. It's so much fun being me. So I find it ironic that what we really need is we need to be in community. And so many folks that I know just hunger to be in relationship with other people. Maybe your primary relationship or sense of connection, but we hunger for it. And so the way we go about that is we isolate ourselves and sit privately and quietly in our own little room on our notebook computer trying to find someone to love us. Do you guys see the irony there? But here's what people heard last week. David said, don't online date. That's what people heard. They actually got worried. Like, now I have to be in the closet about being on eHarmony or plentyoffish.com. I hope I don't run into any Church of Religious Science people there or Center for Spiritual Living people there, because I'm going to look like whatever I look like, which you already look like anyway. I'm not saying that at all. But in your hunger and your drive to be in connection with other people, get out of your house and be with other people. Is that clear? No. If you're here you're relatively new around here, let me add something to this. I'm full of it. And those that have been around, Chuck, you're clapping too hard. He's just a little too enthusiastic with his clapping. But I know that I'm full of it, see? But you don't know that I know that, so you think that I'm like preaching at people, but I'm not. Because here's the understanding people in this room have. Don't believe a word David says. Instead, try it on. Take it home, try it out, see if it works. And if it works, then it's true for you. And if it doesn't, come back because I'll have more advice next week. Got that? So, hostile people live in a hostile world. Peaceful people live in a peaceful world. In what kind of world do you live? Our topic today is powerful emotions. And it comes from our book of the year called A New Design for Living, which is represented on that banner over my left shoulder. A New Design for Living. And what we're doing as a community is we're going through this book in a year. And if you're looking for spiritual education that's quick and powerful, like microwave spirituality, you can get it in this book because like the reading for this week is 2 paragraphs. I could read that in the first 30 seconds in the bathroom. So A New Design for Living, this week's reading is Powerful Emotions, and it's pointing to this. Love and hate are both very powerful, but each unto itself draws to the thinker the exact premise of the thought that the thinker's thinking. So when I'm focused on hate, I'm going to notice that the world is filled with hate. And when I'm focusing on love, I will experience that the world is filled with love. It's what's not in that book is the modern day lexicon version of that. It comes from Dr. Edward Fulune from Santa Rosa. This is circa 1987, like when I met Dr. Edward at the Burbank Church down in Southern California. He was this long, curly-haired South African, and I was shorter, not so curly-haired American. And we sat in the back row of this church with our arms crossed, thinking, is this minister going to entertain me long enough to make this my spiritual home? Are they going to fill all my void and my needs? Are they going to keep me entertained long enough not to go back to St. Mary's? You know, are they going to keep me on my toes? And he and I sort of looked at each other, and we quickly became friends because we were both practitioner students on our way into ministry, even if we didn't know it. And what Dr. Edward described to me is really powerful emotions in a nutshell. He calls it, or called it, the red Jeep theory. See, the red Jeep theory. It's a spiritual principle. You just don't know it. Here's the red Jeep theory. So Dr. Edward had just moved here from South Africa. He didn't yet have a car. And moving to Southern California or Northern California without a car is unworkable. It's just unworkable. Unless you happen to live in 7 square blocks of San Francisco, and then you can make it happen. But for most of us, we need a car. So he hadn't decided what kind of car he wanted. And one day he had this revelation in practitioner class. He said, I want a red Jeep Cherokee. I want a red Jeep. That's what he wanted, was a red Jeep. And thus a spiritual principle was born, because just that very day, when I hit the roads, I saw red Jeeps everywhere. Now, I never noticed them before, so I am certain, absolutely certain, that Reverend Edwards spoke into law, his word. He spoke into creation, red Jeeps, and then the universe just mystically scattered them all over the world. I am certain that Chrysler Corporation of America started pumping out red Jeeps overnight and just scattered them on the freeways of Southern California. Or did they suddenly become a reality in Edwards and my perception such that we noticed what was already present? So this red Jeep theory really applies to powerful emotions. I warn you to not be so attached to your thinking, to your thoughts. Not to be so attached to your thoughts. To not believe everything that you think. I have actually learned not to believe everything I think. It's served me well. Because this may be a surprise to you, but since we're just among friends, I don't wake up every day happy. No? If I believed some of my thoughts, I would have checked out a long time ago. Not every day do I wake up like, woohoo! What has God got in store for me today? It's more like, oh, really? Already? Actually, it's mostly not even thoughts. It's just like sounds, like, shh. But it takes a little work sometimes to get into the gear of a person who is determined to be generous with who they are and to show up and make an impact in the world, to make a contribution. But we get, actually, no matter what we're looking for, we'll find it. If you're looking for your partner to be wrong, you'll find it. If you're looking for your partner to be an extraordinary being who's devoted to you, you'll find it. If you're looking to have your suspicions matched, you'll find it. We just completed last Monday the 4-week How to Be an Adult in Relationships series. It was my favorite class ever so far. I loved it. Loved it. It really comes down to this. When it comes to relationship, choose wisely. Treat kindly. That's it. That's all you got to know. And if you didn't choose wisely, alter it. Alter it. I think every relationship is alterable. And people wonder, well, what is it? What will alter it? Like Mauricio will tell me, you know what really will determine a relationship? The people that are in it. I know, a blinding flash of the obvious. That's what determines a relationship, the people that are in it. And if you're not a team player, or you chose someone who's not a team player, you may have some work to do. So, we're talking about powerful emotions. Love and hate are the two that the book is pointing to. And when we focus on one of them, we will notice more of it in the world, like the red Jeep theory. When you think and contemplate love and loving thoughts and loving ideals, and you prepare yourself to be a loving person, you will find that you live in a loving world. Hostile people live in a hostile world. Peaceful people live in a peaceful world. In what kind of world do you live? So we all know the stories about the stuff that worry us. Who here can escape what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and Crimea? Who here hasn't heard about Malaysia Airlines and the world's wondering what happened to that aircraft and whether anyone survived? Who here is really prepared for April 15 and tax day? So we're already aware of the stuff that tests our ability to be bright and cheerful. But you know, brightness and cheerfulness is everywhere. But we don't look for it because we're skewed to look for that which doesn't work. It's almost like we are determined to find the culprit, and we find the culprit everywhere. There's the culprit, there's the culprit, there's the culprit, there's the culprit. But you know, like the red Jeep theory, if you're looking for the good that the world has to offer, you will be inundated with it. Like, do you know that there's something called, a ladle goes a long way. A ladle goes a long way. There's a group of people in Detroit that determined, since there wasn't much funding for new ideas, for innovative ways to better the world, that they would do it at a grassroots level themselves. So a group of people determined that every week they would host a meal, and the meal is just soup and bread and water. And anybody can come, and by the way, they get standing room only. And they make enough soup for standing room only. And the soup is donated, the bread is donated, the water is donated, even the location. It might be at a church, it might be at a civic hall, it might be at a restaurant, it might be in a club. But every week, people come and they pay $5. And then for $5, they get bread, they get soup, they get water, they get community, they get to sit down. And the room is filled with people who have ideas to make an impact in the world. Now here's what happens. At the end of the dinner then, people who have an idea or they have a project they want to be sponsored, they have some idea that they want to see put into, be implemented to make a difference in the world, they get 30 seconds to stand up and give their plea to the group. And then after everybody shares what their project is, the group gets to vote where all that money, the $5 collection, gets to go to one person in the room. And they do this week after week after week after week after week. A ladle goes a long way. Now, you may have heard that during the 2008 Beijing Olympics that special water bottles had been created, you know, with labels announcing the beauty of Beijing and the Olympics. But what you may not know is that 3 years later, those bottles were washing up on the shores of Oregon. Such is the current of the ocean that things seem to go towards Oregon and get dumped on the shore. Thousands of pounds of plastic waste shows up regularly on the coast of Oregon. And, you know, hearing about this doesn't necessarily inspire us into action, but there was one artist in particular who decided to take all this plastic and put it in such a way that it impacted kids' vision and changed the way that they behave. So she, as an artist, started creating works of art like these massive turtles or these big hanging jellyfish made out of plastic bags and plastic hampers and bottles that were strung after each other, so they're like hanging. So the kids move through a museum with this hands-on type of art, and they get to touch it and see it, but then they get to see that all of this was collected from the ocean, because people like you and me just carelessly toss our disposable water bottles away. And the people like you and me unwittingly are wreaking havoc in our environment. What you may not know is, those plastic bags that they used to give, we can no longer really get them here in Santa Clara County and in San Mateo County, in Alameda County, San Francisco County, maybe where you're watching. They've been illegalized. But those plastic bags, when they float in the ocean, they look like jellyfish. And turtles of the sea eat jellyfish. And when the turtles eat these plastic bags, they die. But this moves us now, but we forget about it when we're in a hurry and when we're at the market and we forgot to take our little bag in. But then this artist creates such imagery inside of us, we get to see the amount of trash that goes into the ocean, and it alters the way that we live. See, there's good news everywhere. People like this artist in Oregon making an impact. So what are your ideas? What are you going to be? How will you be new today? For you, it may not be to run for president, and maybe you're not going to join the choir with Julia, or maybe you're not going to run for city council. Maybe your goal is to be the best mate that you can be, to devote yourself to taking care of the people that live in the house on your right and the house on your left. Maybe your goal is to not complain so much today. But there's a lot more good news. Larry Larder is one of our members, and he sent me a link of like 20 things that are happening immediately in this past week's news that most of us don't see because we really are worried about Crimea. Here they are, just in a nutshell. This is the kind of stuff that's going on. There is a man, probably lots of them, and probably lots of women too, who have sight and know how to read, and they donate their times to go to local nursing homes where blind folks can no longer read. And so they go there every day and just read a chapter or two every day to make a difference. There is an elderly man who walks with a cane who has a dog that is so old, so ancient, that the dog itself can no longer walk. When it needs to do its business, the dog has to be carried out to the lawn, set down to do its business, and then carried back into the house. But this dog is the love of this elderly man's life. And so every day he takes the dog for a walk by picking it up and putting it in a wheelchair and walking the dog around the neighborhood. This is the kind of news that we don't hear because we're worried about Russia and Ukraine. There was a man who was standing at a local freeway off-ramp with a sign that said, "Not homeless, I have a job, I'm just saying hello." A young boy came into the realization that he's been looking at this picture for most of his cognitive life, and he says, "What's that?" Mom and Dad said, "That's our wedding picture." And the boy was sad that he was not around to have attended that. So the parents decided that they would reenact their wedding, and so they put on their wedding clothes, she the gown, he the tuxedo. They had a little informal wedding in the living room, and the little boy got to be the preacher. This is the kind of stuff you won't hear about while you're worried about Malaysia Airlines. More. There was a newspaper ad, honestly, a newspaper ad. There in the newspaper. Driver who beeped at me for going out of turn at a four-way stop on 13th and Belmont at 6 p.m. on Thursday the 20th. I was wrong. You were right. Sorry. An 8-year-old girl was dying of leukemia. She was down to about 2 weeks left. It really looked like, unless a miracle occurred, she was going to be around for 2 more weeks. And her parents asked, "What do you really want?" And she said, "I want to see Christmas carolers." And through the beauty of social media, when the little girl looked out one night out of the second story window of her house, she saw as far as her eyes could see streets that were flooded with people. Thousands and thousands of people showed up. See, you don't need a relationship. What you need is community. So when you're looking for a date, look for a date while you're in community. Take your little device with you and sit with the friends and have them help you update your profile. There's a flyer on a telephone pole that says, "Thank you for whoever you are that found my wedding ring and turned it into the police. It's nice to know that there still are good people in the world." A young woman was graduating from high school. For her high school graduation, her father gave her a hardbound copy of Dr. Seuss's "Oh, the Places You'll Go." And she thought, that's sweet, better than some corny old card. And she says, "Thank you, Dad," and kisses him on the cheek. And he says, "No, open it up." So she opens it up. And inside there, in the first page, is a note from her kindergarten teacher. And she was really moved by this. And her father says, "No, there's more." So she turned the page, and on the second page was a note from her first grade teacher, her first grade principal, and her first grade physical education coach. See, what she began to realize is that her father's been keeping this book for 13 years, and he's held it as a secret. And at the end of every school year of his daughter's life, he would go to the school and have the teacher do an inscription, and the principal do an inscription, and the coach do an inscription. I mean, you won't read about this stuff if you're just too focused on the amount of crime that's currently going on in your neighborhood. But there's more. Because of the Random Act of Kindness Act, lots of things are showing up, such as little kids are finding, taped to gumball machines, quarters. Imagine you're one of those people that sees the world from about this position. You're like right in the eye of those gumball machines or hot tamales or Reese's Pieces. And oh, if I only had a quarter. Please, dear Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, send me a quarter. And imagine taped right there on that, just for self-service, is a quarter. And mom can't argue because this is an act of God. But you won't read about this while you're too busy looking at the traffic accidents that have been happening in your neighborhood. But for those of us who see the world a little bit higher than here, we have something called Redbox. Redbox, DVD rentals. You'll see them like at Walgreens. You'll see them outside of 7-Elevens and some Safeways and Whole Foods and Rayleigh's. Redbox. Taped on Redbox recently. I saw the picture of this. Taped on Redbox was a package of unpopped microwave popcorn. Taped right there on the Redbox. It said, "Enjoy a full movie theater experience." But you won't do this while you're too busy with those powerful emotions of sadness and despair and loneliness. The world is filled with possibilities, but we will miss them if we're not looking for them. There was an older lady, real story, sweeping and cleaning the middle island of a busy street in New York City. Sweeping. And somebody walked up to her and said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Sometimes the city can't get to everything. They have so much to do in Manhattan, so I like to help." And the last one, it's a letter from a father written to his son. "Nate, I overheard your phone conversation with Mike last night about your plans to come out to me. The only thing I need you to plan is to bring home orange juice and bread after class. We are out, like you now. I've known you were gay since you were 6. I've loved you since you were born. Dad. P.S. Your mom and I think you and Mike make a cute couple." All right, so maybe it is as easy as scanning the web or reading your emails or the KarmaTube or goodnews.org, but there's something you can do. There's something you can do to actually set it into motion and accelerate it. There's something you can do. Last Thursday, I woke up with one of those less than jubilant kind of thoughts about my world. And I decided, I knew that I could do something about it. So I sat down, I thought I would sit down on the sofa, and I'm pretty darn sure that the thing itself was going to intercede, and somehow it was going to cause me to want to bring up my mala beads and to chant the Gayatri mantra, or to start singing songs, my favorite ABBA songs when nobody's around, and I can really do it like Agnetha. If she was still alive, she would have such competition with me. But you know what the message was? It's time to get back on your bike, David. David, get back on your bicycle. I've got too much to get on your bicycle, but I have to get on your bicycle. So I got on my bicycle, and I went for a ride that turned out to be about 2 hours of the most exhilarating, beautiful, ass-numbing bicycle rides I've had in a long time. And ass-numbing is a spiritual term. But while I was on that bicycle, I had a remembrance of a therapist who stirs my soul and opens my heart and softens my thinking. It was a therapist who was being met by someone who was severely depressed and desperate for help. And the therapist could make an impact because the therapist is really good. But the therapist said, or asked this desperate person, what is your exercise regime? And the person says, I don't have one. And the therapist said, you will have one by this time next week, because if you are not actively engaged in a rigorous physical education program, I will no longer work with you. That's a good therapist. Because if you look online, you'll see at the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, there really is such a place, the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, that something that will accelerate the medication that helps people who are depressed, or something that causes people who are on medications who want to get off of it, is physical exercise. Now, what don't you already know about this? You already know this. You know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But are you doing it? There's something you can do today that will cause powerful emotions to transform, because you will start seeing a world that works for everyone. And you'll stop seeing a world of desperation when you get off your butt. Dr. Peggy Bassett said she's convinced that there's a hell. We're all going there on our butts. But I tried that. But it doesn't work for me. But I'm too busy. But I don't have time. But you have time to be worried. You have time to be sad. You have time to be angry. It's up to you. It's up to me too. So there's some helpful advice. The advice is set small daily goals and aim for consistency. Find forms of exercise that are fun and enjoyable. Extroverts like to be in classes. Introverts like to prefer to exercise alone. So figure out your type. Get a buddy to help you, because I'll tell you what, a buddy or someone who's holding you accountable is fantastic, because this is where peer pressure comes in handy. Because the buddy says, are you ready? And you're going, you know what you've been saying for years. Tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And a buddy will go, I'm on my way to pick you up. Just start. Start today. What is one small form of exercise you can do today? I bet you weren't expecting that, right? What is one small form? You can start walking 10, 15 minutes a day for 5 days every week. That will transform your world. So, will we do this? Yes. Probably not. Because there's something that Landmark calls your probable, almost certain future. But there might be one or two of you that's listening, and that's enough for me. Because hostile people live in a hostile world, and peaceful people live in a peaceful world. It's up to you what kind of world you live in. Let's pray together. I'm grateful to be here in this room right now and to remember that the highest God and the innermost God is the same God. The God that keeps airplanes in flight and causes the sun to shine and snow to fall. is the same God that sits inside of me, resides in me, and as me, and nudges me. David, get back on your bicycle. But I'm so familiar with that little voice in my head because it sounds just like me, and it confuses me sometimes. I don't know which is guidance and which is fear, which is direction and which is just my own self-loathing. So right now I turn this prayer to the highest most, which sounds foreign to people like us sometimes because it sounds a lot like praying to a God outside. But sometimes that's all that helps. And so, highest God, God of my mother and my father, God of my ancestors, the God of possibility that put humankind on the moon, hear right now, hear our prayer. Our prayer is to be living in a world that works for everyone, a world where kindness and forgiveness is the norm, a world in which each of us is inspired to make a contribution, that each of us is now in the mode of giving and not so focused on getting. In this altered world, we notice that powerful emotions exist, and they really are powerfully joyful, hopeful, promising, generous. And then the world of possibility becomes the world of reality. And then the probable, almost certain future is one in which we all thrive, and where the mission, the purpose of this center becomes realized, because we really are transforming lives and building dreams and revealing love. So, it's all this easy, and it all begins today with me. With anyone in this room who determines that this day we will take an active role. So right now, highest God, be attuned to the promises that are happening in this room. People who are promising to walk for 10 minutes or 15 minutes at a time, 5 days a week, to go to a gym, take up cycling, jogging, Pilates, any form of exercise, curves, skating, sex. After saying sex, there's nothing else to say, and so it is. And yes, you can really say that behind the pulpit. So online community folks, grateful to be here with you today, grateful you're here with us. Those of you who are here in the room, grateful to be with you, grateful that you're here with me. Let's all of us, distant and local, say our giving affirmation together. The ushers are going to come forward and help us with the sharing of our gifts and tithes and offerings. And those of you who are online who want to participate with this as well, there's a Donate Now button on the Center for Spiritual Living website, so you can participate too. Please say March's giving affirmation with me. I bless the past, accept the present, and praise the future. I give thanks for the miracle of life and how it blesses me. I am inspired to love and serve the world.
Hi, I invite you to, even though there are no words up for it, I invite you to join me in the song of Unity of Community. Mind one, heart one, spirit one. There is only one of us here. Oh, song one. Prayer revelation. There is only one life here. There is only one of us here. Song 1, prayer revelation. There is only one life here. I remember only one here. I remember only one now. I remember only one life. I remember who I am. Mind one, heart one, spirit one. There is only one of us here. Song 1, prayer revelation. There is only one life here. There is only one life here. Oh, there is only one life here.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Troy. Come back and visit us again, okay? Awesome.
Good morning. My name is Liz Fedina. I'm a member of your core council. I'm an inspired person living an inspirational life, and I invite you to get inspired with me by attending our annual membership meeting on Sunday, March 23rd at 1 o'clock out in Fellowship Hall. Everyone is welcome. You don't need to be a member to attend, and I really encourage you to come. We have a great agenda planned. We will be electing new core council and visioning core members and voting on some potential changes to our bylaws. There will be a year in review featuring your impact and accomplishments. Our ministers will be sharing their vision for 2014. We'll be serving lunch, and we'll be having a CSL trivia contest with prizes. For example, what popular daytime TV show featured our very own Dr. David back in 1984? The answer will be revealed at the annual meeting. I hope to see you there.
Thank you, Liz. No, it was Dark Shadows. Love you, Dave. Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. How are you? Awesome. Do you have any questions about the announcements? I should do them first. Wait. March outreach. So, last Sunday, was that like amazing to have all the stuffed animals here? 603 was the tally when they got done counting them and distributing them. 603 little critters were connected. So now this month we are actually focusing on animal relief awareness for real animals, for breathing, four-legged, and furry friends. So if you would like to know more about that, the outreach team has a table in Fellowship Hall right near the doors when you come in off the parking lot. So you can go and talk to Dorcas Kelly. And there were so many of you that were inspired by our outreach team, and we wanted to let you know that if you'd like to know more about what they do, there is a meeting today at 12:15. If you'd like to meet the team or consider being part of the team, you are welcome to do so. I don't recall offhand what room it's in, but in Fellowship Hall there's a screen that's showing what meetings are happening today. It's the screen on the stage, and you'll be able to find out where that is. And tonight we have service at 7 p.m. with Maureen Ross. 6, thank you. Thank you so much. So, well, you know, unless you didn't change your clock. For those of you just arriving, surprise. It was great. Sorry you missed it. On Tuesday, Ken Rowell is hosting the Better Business Breakfast from 7 to 8:30. That is a free event for you to find out about spirituality in your business life, in your professional life, and the Continental Breakfast is provided for you. On Tuesday and Thursday, also at 7 a.m., you can take Change Your Posture, Change Your Life with Laura Marquardt. So there you go. There's an hour of exercise, free, well, not free, but almost free, right here at the center. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays at noon, there's something really awesome that's happening here. Madeline Vanderhorst is a practitioner emeritus. That means she's been a practitioner for over 15 years, and she is hosting a prayer circle right there in the chapel. So you can drop in on your lunch hour and be part of a prayer circle in the middle of the week. It's beautiful, uplifting, inspiring. And then on Wednesday nights at 5:45, Dr. David just started his drop-in coaching. Excuse me. I need more sleep. Drop-in coaching for people who are unemployed, people who are kind of like, would rather eat dirt than go to work every day, and hating their jobs. So please drop in. It's inspiring, and it's only an hour, and that's also free. On Wednesday nights, we're sowing seeds of greatness with the spiritual alphabet. This theme this week will be connection and the butterfly effect. That's 7 to 8, also free. Thursday night, we have Awaken Thursdays, an hour in the silence, an opportunity to briefly share, and then a meal that's been prepared and provided for you. Free. Everything's free. It's awesome. Please take advantage. Next Saturday, last week, Dave Rodriguez was up here and he talked about the Education Expo, and it's happening next Saturday, the 15th, starting at 10 a.m. here at the center. We're so delighted and really privileged to be hosting this for people who want to know about education opportunities beyond the mainstream K through 8, 9 through 12 schools. So there'll be private educators here. There'll be people who have alternative methods of educating children. It's very inspiring. It's for parents, it's for teachers, it's for grandparents, or anyone interested in the future of our kids, right? Save the date, March 21. Gregory Merritt is doing a spring equinox and shamanic drumming circle. And the annual membership meeting, Liz already told you about, that's on the 23rd. We're still seeking a CPA, by the way. If you're a certified public accountant or you know one who could assist the center in performing their year-end nonprofit review, would you please talk to Megan Dake Morell either during the week or after service? Next Sunday, I'm going to tell you a little bit more next Sunday about Gourmets for God. It is like this amazing event that we hold every year. We kick it off on Easter Sunday. And it's basically members of this community who donate events surrounding food. You don't have to be a chef or anything like that, but you could say, hey, I want to have like 6 people at my house for a movie night and hot dogs, or I want people at my house for Sunday morning brunch after Bruner kind of thing, or I want to take a bunch of people I want to take a bunch of people to the beach this summer, and we're going to have roast mix s'mores and stuff. And then starting April 20th, we kick it off with bidding. So you get to bring your calendar and look at all these events that are going to come up throughout the year and bid on them. All the proceeds come back to the center. It's a great way to be in community, to meet people. Again, I'll tell you a little more next week. But in the meantime, if you'd like to be part of the team that just helps to staff the tables for like 4 Sundays starting April 20th, would you please come and see me after service, or you could see Marilyn Tyson, or you can check in at the concierge and we'll take your name and teach you just how to be a volunteer there. It's really simple. And lastly, we have some amazing classes coming up this spring. You don't want to miss out. Foundations begins next Monday, March 17th. It's from 7 to 10 p.m. for 10 Mondays with Dr. David. If he's away, I teach it with him. We don't want anyone to miss out on this class. If you've already taken it, you can audit it for next to free. If you don't have the tuition, that's not a problem. You can just pay the registration fee and take the class in exchange for service hours. But what I really want you to know is that the scholarship applications are due today. So if you want to take any of the spring classes and you would like a scholarship, please stop at the concierge, talk to Max, he's our registrar. You could talk to Doris, she's our ed director, and they will get you all signed up. Practical Mysticism is another class that starts on the 18th, taught by Maureen Ross. If you want to talk about being a modern day mystic, this is the class for you. And then 2 weeks later, on Thursday, April 3rd, Megan Dake Morell will be teaching Mind-Body Connection, which is all about your power and your healing power. All 3 of them are remarkable. And you know it's Barbie's birthday today? Do you know that? 55 years ago today, Barbie made her debut at the New York Toy Fair. She's a New Yorker. So anyway, if there's something in your life going on for which you would like prayer, or you just want to celebrate something and you're so excited you can't contain it, you can have a seat in the chapel area after service, and our licensed practitioners will pray for you. It's their gift. It's free. Thanks. Have a great week, yes?
So at 12:02 this afternoon, which was exactly 8 minutes ago, Reverend Darlene Dunning was was invited by the members of High Desert Center for Spiritual Living, which is one of the 2 Albuquerque, New Mexico churches. She was invited by them to be their new senior minister. Would you all please stand and take the hand of the person on your right and on your left and join me in a moment of benediction? Won't you know with me that you and I are never alone, ever. God is where we are, right now and always. And really the only thing that we will ever need to do is maybe take a moment and sit on the sofa and pay attention to the voice that says, get back on your bicycle, David. Because this God knows only good. And it's inside as us, guiding us, directing us, inspiring us into a world of action, activity, and transformation. And joyously, let us make use of these gifts in all that we think and say and do to create a world that works for everyone. And so it is. As is our custom, won't you please repeat after me? Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
That was okay. I'm talking like wonderful. Do you know what I mean? Like wonderful. Do you know what I mean by that? Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
It's this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in my relationships. Life is in my finances. Life is in Malaysia Airlines. Life is in Russia. Life is in Ukraine. Life is in Crimea. I see it. I think it. I feel it. I believe it. I accept it. I express it. Just the way that it is. And just the way that it is not. Thank you, life.